We're live and in style. It's Carson flying solo, unfortunately, for 2019's first film, Escape Room. And I gotta say, definitely an upgrade from 2018's first film and noted worst film by those of us that typically review films in this car, Proud Mary. So, alright. Normally we do a little bit of a pre-show, but I've been kind of lazy with these lately, so I'm just doing them live. Fuck it. And so before going into this, I mean, if you looked at my Twitter feed, you'd know I'd be like, I just was like, all right, time to go waste 90 minutes with this film real quick. And the only thing that it really had going for it is that it has Taylor Labine in it, who from Tucker and Dale vs. Evil and a bunch of whole other stuff. I dig them. And then it's also from the director of The Taking of Deborah Logan. And that's one of the few found footage films that I actually really dig. So I was like, okay, I'll pump my brakes on the hate train a little bit, especially. The other thing is, you know, January release, January, February, part of March, it's just dumping grounds. Unless you have like a rated R science fiction or horror film. So I'm like, okay, PG-13 horror film, kind of looks like it's ripping off more of PG-13 version of the Saw movies, in a way, with the presentation, with the marketing of the film, and it's PG-13. So, all right, let's go in and do this. And I was pleasantly surprised. Honestly, I actually kind of dug that one. It's weird because to say what this movie is actually closer to is kind of a major spoiler for the film, and it ends up working, but that's the end of the film. The whole rest of the film, it doesn't rely solely on that. It's not a wait for the twist kind of thing. The film works because it knows what it is, so it's tonally pretty consistent, and the film has a great pacing, legitimately really good pacing. It's like, all right, we've spent 10 minutes in this room, time for stuff to blow up and time for people to get the hell out, and it moves at a really, really good pace, and I was afraid it wasn't. And because of that and the inherent likability of Taylor Labine, I mean, the other characters have some likability, but he definitely was doing a lot of the work on this one. It lends to this film working more often than not. And if we're talking just a popcorn munching thriller, it's actually pretty effective. There were some moments that were actually getting to me, and I think that has to do with the fact that the director has experience creating tension and creating, a sense of fear with very little, and this film does that really well. And granted, the characters are pretty cookie cutter, and the premise is all right. I definitely get the feeling that one of the writers or producers was like, oh my, someone got me this escape room and it was hell. Let's make a movie out of it. But I didn't have a problem with that. The premise, yeah, it's pretty wonky, but whatever. And the film just worked, despite all of that. And I think because of the pacing, it doesn't let you sit with any one thing too long. So it's like, okay, we're on to the next one. Okay, we're on to the next one. Okay, we're on to the next one. And it really does a great service to this film. The characters, all of them, it's kind of funny. Most of them have a little bit of unlikability to them, but none of them are too extreme with their unlikability. And so, granted, the lows aren't super low, but the highs with these characters aren't super high either. So we get pretty milquetoast characters, but they establish just enough. Character motivation and backstory that you're like, I'd rather not see these people die, especially when more often than not it's like, that'd be kind of a crappy way to die. But in the film, because it is PG-13, doesn't rely on really graphic answers to escape each room. My biggest complaint really actually comes down to the marketing in this film, because they show off almost every single room in the trailer, in like the first trailer, and it's like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. Granted, none apart from the 8-ball room that is upside down, none of them are really super interesting. And again, that kind of goes back to the fact that it's like, okay, we're not spending 20 minutes at a tick in each one of these rooms. It's moving on, moving on, moving on. So it's a very economical screenplay and a very economical film. It's like, okay, you have to understand the rules of this really quick, and then we have to get out. And more often than not, that actually serves the film very, very well. The only one that I felt, it's not that they stayed there too long. It was just like, okay, that's kind of a lackluster answer, or a lackluster way to get out of that room, is the second room. But there's enough interesting things happening around it. And again, at no point was I actually checking my watch. So more often than not, this film actually pulls it off. It's stylish, it's very slick, and I gotta say, while not worth watching in cinemas, definitely worth picking up at like Redbox or it's definitely worth a rental, definitely worth picking up on Blu-ray or DVD, because it's easygoing enough and it moves. And I think because of those two main points, this film is actually pretty strong. It actually ends up working really well. And when a lot of the films of 2018 couldn't even do that right, I got to give it to this film. So yeah, quick and easy. It actually worked. Escape Room actually kind of worked for me, funny enough. So yeah, definitely rent it when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD, or pick it up when you get a chance to buy it. Really, really solid release, actually, and pleasant surprise. Pretty decent way to start the new year. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about it. How about you guys? Oh yeah, that's right, I'm alone again. At least unlike 2017, 2018, whenever I had to do these alone, I ended up, but more often than not, I ended up really angry at the fact that I had to suffer through it alone, but not too bad this time. So yeah, please like the page on Facebook, facebook.com/GlassHouseFilms, youtube.com/GlassFilmsHouse, and on Twitter, where I'm most active, at GlassHouseFilms. And next week, I think it's Replicas. So, all right, we got ourselves a Keanu Reeves film. All right, except for the fact that it was pushed back a lot, and it's the second week of January release. So, who knows? And I gotta say, watching the trailers, I'm like, oh, this is just it's a veritable buffet of films that I'm gonna have to sit through for the next 2 months. So, woo! All right. Anyway, see you guys next week for Replicas. Bye.